Ooh, welcome everybody to Lil Zothipore podcast. As always, I am Lil P, joined by Zoth. And Zoth, how are you doing here today?
I'm doing great. Excited to talk about some of these games.
Yes, it should be a fun time. We have played some of the bigger indie horror games that's come out of the year so far, and one that I was really looking forward to right away. And good to talk about it. And we talked about it in the last episode of stuff we were looking forward to in 2026. And one of the things was Quarantine Zone, the last check for me. When I played the demo last year, I absolutely loved it. And I was really looking forward to the game. It was supposed to come out towards the end of last year, and they delayed it for a bit to fine tune things. And it's come out, and I really enjoyed this game overall. I can't remember. Did you beat the story or get one of the endings for the campaign?
No, I have not finished it yet. I had a bunch of other games queued up, but I did get like maybe halfway through.
Yeah, which is one of the things with the game. Like, you kind of know what to expect when it comes to that game when you played it for a bit. It definitely gets repetitive when it comes to that. But we'll talk about some things we didn't like with the game, some things we liked with the game, and overall, I think I would recommend people look into the game if they think it's something that they would enjoy. It's obviously it's not going to be for everyone, but if you like the kind of deduction stuff, sort of puzzles, figure out are these people a zombie or not, knowing what to look for, trying to do that. That's what kind of drew me in to it, and I enjoyed that part of it. And it was definitely fun at first, but definitely could get a little bit tedious and a little bit repetitive. That was like,
I agree.
I think some of the biggest kind of takeaway that I had from it was like towards the end of the campaign, I was just like, let me just get through these people and get an ending, because it felt tedious. And when you have so many of the different tools unlocked, and then you're having to like use the x-ray on their body and then look into their eyes and then use the UV and then just do like all of this stuff, because you need to do that to get a perfect like score or get more research points. But right away, because the person might have been green, so you already know they're a zombie, but you're like going through it, and eventually I was just like, all right, if I see something right away that makes you a zombie, you just immediately take it out. I didn't care if I got a good research points for it, if it was thorough. It just felt like a lot of tedious stuff towards the end. Which the game, it can kind of lend itself to that, but what were your thoughts on that?
I felt the same thing. I'm not really the biggest fan of the genre of game. I mean, some of them are really fun, but they do tend to get tedious. There's less investigation aspect and more like just I don't know, tediousness, like you said. And it didn't really seem to be relevant to add more tools at all, because you already knew if someone had a certain trait, they're going to be infected. So, I'm not sure if I will finish it, because there are a lot of good games that I'm still wanting to play right now. But overall, like, I wish there were more of the tower defense. That was fun, but it's very scant, in my opinion, doing that aspect. Upgrading the base, it just feels like more like a job than a fun game.
Yeah, the tower defense thing was interesting. I felt like it just didn't really have a place for it. It's just so random.
Yeah,
like it was fun, but then it kind of got old, and I guess that's like the gist of like sort of the whole thing with it, which I like to talk about the negatives first when we talk about things, because I always like to try to end on a high note. So it might sound like man, I almost really hated this game. Did not. Just want to get through the negatives
Yeah.
first before talking about what we enjoyed. The which for those who don't know, we have been live streaming our podcast here lately on both YouTube and Twitch. So if you are listening to this after the fact and want to join us live, I wish I could tell you we have a set schedule for it. We don't. Be here right at this
Yeah.
time. It's going to be recording. We're trying to figure out and plan better for that. We are all on completely different schedules lately. But someone else mentioned that the eye thing was boring, and that I think just got overly tedious. Looking into the eyes to look for
Yeah.
different parasites, just I wasn't a big fan of that part of it either. And the first game I really played that was sort of like this was Contraband Police, and it's what the game kind of reminded me of. And in comparing it with that game, I love that game. I probably put in like 50 to 80 hours on that game.
Wow.
I didn't stream it a bunch, but like I was playing like in my off time. I thought it was fun. Again, can it get a little tedious? Yes, because you're looking for different things like on a passport. Does it match with the ID, what that's saying? Like, does their date of birth match? But it was fun when, something was different, or then they were like trying to smuggle in drugs in the tires. So you slash the tires open to get the drugs out. Sometimes they wouldn't stop at the checkpoint. They would just barrel in. You'd go in a car chase and try to chase them down and take them out. Like there were a bunch of different stuff that kept it like fresh and entertaining, I thought. And even when you're like, okay, I think I got the hang of it, it was still fun, I felt like, to do that. But comparing that with Quarantine Zone, by the end of the story, I just wanted to get it over with. And I think maybe it has partly to do with the story. Now, Contraband Police, they had like an endless mode like Quarantine Zone has too. But they also had a story mode, and I thought that story mode was way more in depth than what Quarantine Zone was. Like they say it's a campaign. You get multiple endings, and if you've heard me before, I'm not a big fan of multiple endings, unless it like sort of makes sense. But I didn't have a need or want to go through the campaign again. Like the game itself, if you know what you're doing, is fairly easy. Like I don't think I ever had a zombie infestation in the thing. I ended up at a point where I had too many people like that were safe or in quarantine. And nobody ever there were the random things where they would turn into zombies and kill them in the quarantine, but that hardly ever happened. So it was kind of like when you kind of know what you're doing, a game gets like super easy, and which is even worse. I'm like, okay, let's just get through. I've reached enough people for quota. I'm just doing all this. I thought there were some cool like little tidbits in the campaign, like with that might have changed the ending, but I didn't feel the need to want to go through the campaign again to go through it. But that's like
and I think that's why I'm not a really big fan of this genre in general. I feel like it's just too easy.
Yeah, it definitely, especially when you know what you're looking for, it's just sort of like a weight thing. I don't know if they could have done like more random events, or like even like the tower defense with like with the drone, where that is kind of random. Like in Contraband Police, you would have a random event where people would come in and like try to storm your base, and so you'd have to get into a shootout and shoot them down. And I think if they did that with the zombies, now again, I'm not a big fan of zombie games in general where you just shoot zombies a million times. Like that's not really my thing. But I think if you were trying to do that to defend the base and you had to like go to different sides to shoot down the zombies, I think it would be kind of better than the drone aspect of it. I think it would have been more fun that way. But do you think the campaign just got a little bit tedious? Now, those would probably be like the biggest negatives. Like the upgrades kind of felt like not necessarily worth it. I felt like you needed more beds for the survivors. To update Quarantine would have been good. Eventually I upgraded like the metal detector to show sketch symptoms, which made things a little bit less tedious, but some of the upgrades like didn't really seem necessary. It felt like you were just kind of like, oh, well, I have this money, so let me upgrade. Now, upgrading some of the items did make it a little bit better, but that wasn't like hugely necessary either if you knew what you were looking for. But I thought overall, like the game was fun. It does have an endless mode, and I love that they're branching out, like collaborating with like other games. Like they collaborated with Dead by Daylight to where their survivors would come in and like cameos, basically, like you would check them.
Yeah,
I think
that
if
was fun.
yeah, I think if they do that, like that's really cool. They got like some
I had Sans
yeah,
from Undertale. That was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, they have stuff like that where with coming in. I think like that's fun. Like overall, I had fun with the game, and I think if you do stream it, like you can have your Twitch viewers make people to check in the endless mode. They can
Oh
make a
yeah,
survivor to
that's
check. Like
cool.
it, like they have cool things with it. But if you're not a streamer, like obviously that probably really doesn't pertain to it. Do I see myself like really wanting to play the endless mode like all the time? No, but I thought overall, like I thought the investigation stuff to figure out the person, it was pretty fun overall. I enjoy trying to do things like that. I did feel like it was too easy, or yeah, basically too easy at the end, and you kind of already knew what you were going for. A little bit too tedious with some of the things, especially the eye thing, man. I was not a fan of that eye thing at all. But the game itself, the story was fine. I wish we could have got more into the side stories. There was some side stories that were just kind of weird. Um,
Just kind of thrown together,
yeah,
like the tower defense. Well, but when you know, as with the tower defense too, as soon as I figured out how it worked, it was also extremely easy. That's my
yes,
only complaint. The concept of the game, the I think it's a fantastic game as far as zombies go. Um, it was well made. It looked good. There were so many good things about it, but it was too easy, too tedious, in my opinion.
yeah. I think it ended up becoming that, but I like for the price. I enjoyed the game, and I think people who there is a demo, which is just play the demo. If you enjoy the demo, you'll enjoy the game. I think if you don't
Yeah,
enjoy the demo,
yeah.
you're not going to enjoy it. I think it got a little bit too tedious, but that's it is what it is. You can only do so much repetitive stuff. I thought they could have done more to kind of shake things up at the end, to make it not seem as tedious and repetitive, like maybe adding in more random events or different things that you could do. But unless we were just so good at the game that we were just like, we just whatever. I mean, we
Well,
got
too, as you go on in the game and you get more and more devices to check for stuff, they should have made it so that there were no other definitive ways of telling that it was an infected. Like, don't, if you're going to put something in the eyes that's definitely an infected trait, then don't give them anything else that gives it away.
yeah.
Make it super vague, like they're healthy, but they've got this one thing, or they're sick, but it could be just normal sickness, but then there's just one thing. Then it wouldn't have felt like, because you're actually looking for stuff at that point. You're not just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. That would be good, cuz that was just like the main thing. Like I said, like if somebody comes in and they're right away they're a zombie because of a trait, it's like, why am I going to waste my time checking everything else just to check it in the book to get close to 100% to get like 9 research points instead of 0 or 6 or
Yeah.
whatever. um I didn't care for that part, but it also like didn't harm. I mean, it. I thought the game overall was fun. I don't see a need to go through the campaign again. I think it's like the same campaign each time too. Um, like you'll have the same people, the same like symptoms and what happens. So there's really like no need to play the campaign again. Like I think endless mode would be pretty fun, but I like if you're playing this, you got to play the campaign. I feel like before playing endless, because at
Yeah.
endless everything is unlocked right away. Like I was only like a few chapters into the campaign. I was like, let me just start an endless thing off stream. I can just play, and then I was like fucking lost to it. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Let me just let me just do the campaign. Like I don't quite know what to look for. So I think overall, like it's fun. Do I see myself like really playing this game a whole bunch? No. once it was kind of done. Like I enjoyed my time with it though, but it definitely start to felt or feel tedious by the end of it. But those are like the negatives. Like the pros of the game, it is fun to figure out if it's a zombie or not. There's some funny little interactions that happen. It
Yeah.
the like the tower defense stuff, it is fun at first, I think. It just kind of gets
Yeah.
kind of old and repetitive, just kind of like with everything. I think if
Yep.
they had like you could defend the tower without the drone, I think that would be more fun. Or have some
Yeah.
more random different things happen later on in the campaign.
Make it
Instead
more
of
challenging too.
yeah, yeah, I think that would be good. Like make it to where it is subtle. Like you have to make sure you check for everything. Um, by the end of it, maybe just have like one giveaway and don't like by the end make like the color of their skin is zombie, so you know right away, or their eyes are zombie eyes. You're like, well, I know fucking right away you're a zombie. Uh,
Right. Exactly.
if you want to do like the eye thing, which I hate, but it's pain. And like when you first get the X-ray, it was confusing at first. Like, wait, what do I look for with this? So like put stuff in there. Now they didn't make it to where it was kind of easier to tell. Um, but you know, maybe again because I'm used to playing these type of games to look for things like that, it was easier for me, and maybe not for some people. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. You can let us know your thoughts if you found the game difficult. Uh, but I never had an issue making quota for how many survivors you needed, and I never had a zombie attack or anything like that outside of just quarantine. So there's
Yeah.
that.
Same for me.
But the game is
It's
fun.
a fantastic concept. A fantastic concept. I love the idea of working inside a quarantine zone like that. I thought that was honestly a brilliant idea. I just felt like they could have made it a little more challenging and cohesive
Yeah.
in the execution.
But I would recommend everybody try out the demo and see if it's something you like. I knew right away from playing the demo I was going to enjoy the game. They did change some things from the demo to the main game, so I don't know if the demo is updated. How it is, I don't know. But either way, you play the demo, you're going to know if you want to play the game or not. And
Yeah, and it's great for the streaming aspect too. For the
yes,
players can help, the streamer watchers can help. I love that.
yeah, yeah, I think that's really cool, and it's like really in depth. I think like you can choose if you're infected or not, what traits you have. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's pretty cool, and they instituted that like fairly quickly afterwards too. So
yeah. That was a surprise.
yeah, good to see that because people streaming helps keep the game alive longer because more people can see it and do all that. But yeah, keep the crossovers with different things coming in the game. Like I do want to try endless mode and do that at some point with viewers of the stream. Like I still think that'd be fun, and I still enjoy the concept overall. I enjoy these type of games, and I think there were just a few things they could have added more that help break up the monotony of it by the end of it, different
Yeah,
than like the drones, because even that felt monotonous by the end. Like, okay, here we go, there's gonna be another drone battle coming on.
right.
Then when you've done that a bunch, you just like let's just get through it. That was the way I felt at the end. uh I was happy with the ending. I guess I got the best ending because you know I'm the best obviously. uh,
Oh, jeez.
but yeah, so I didn't have an issue with the ending. I thought it was fine. I'm sure there were some interesting ones, but yeah, Quarantine Zone, check out the demo. Definitely think it's something people might enjoy. You got anything else to say about Quarantine Zone?
No, I've said everything I have to say.
There we go. And anybody watching that has questions, let us know your thoughts of the game if you played it. Uh, appreciate it. Homeless, welcome in. Nelson, thank you again for the Prime sub. I do appreciate that. Do
Hey,
appreciate
Nelson
it.
and Homeless, welcome in.
Tags, if you're still there, thank you for the comment there on YouTube. I appreciate it. Welcome in. Yeah, Quarantine Zone. That was do I think it'll make like one of the best games I play all year? Probably not. Probably not. I don't think by the end of it. When I make my top 10 indie horror games of 2025, will it be on there? I don't know. Maybe not, but it'll probably be farther on down, I would think. Just
Yeah, it depends on what comes out.
yeah.
It would have to be a slow year.
Well, you hate everything. So
No, I don't.
there
Stop lying about me.
there is
I
that.
loved Hellmart.
Loved Hellmart. Well, we're going to talk about
Yeah.
that next. We have a lot of thoughts, and if you are listening to this, we're going to talk about the story of Hellmart later on at the end of this podcast. If you, it will be full spoilers, so we'll talk about the non-spoiler review for the game, and then later on we're going to talk about the story and our thoughts on it, what could be improved, what we liked, what we didn't like, with full-on spoilers. So that'll be at the end of the podcast, which we'll let you know. So we're going to get through the whole thing. If you don't want spoilers, and then we'll talk about that there at the end. But Hellmart was interesting. I think we both have enjoyed. Well, we both play a bunch of simulator type games, and we love the horror games. And there's a lot can be said when it goes hand in hand together, a horror simulator type game. So I thought maybe had heard about Hellmart in the past, but I didn't really look anything up about it. And then I saw that it released in early access, and I was like, okay, this might be something we should look at because it sounds pretty fun. Now, it did kind of remind me similar of like Shift at Midnight. I don't know which one was made first or whatever, but you know how that goes. Somebody makes a game and then people try to copy similar ideas, but I don't know if that was Hellmart or Shift at Midnight or what it was. Either way, but both games were different enough in their own right. But with Hellmart, you just got hired at a gas station or a supermarket, not a gas station. I don't think it's a gas station. And
No.
you're basically take it over. Last person left, and it was left unmanned. So now you're here to open it, clean it up, stock the shelves, and be nice to the people of the town. And you're supposed to do this for 7 days, and then something happened. Only things are not always quite what they seem, especially when it turns to dark. Weird things happen, and you cannot let certain people in. So you played this game before I did.
Yes.
And
I played it 3 times to get all 3 endings.
Yes, you got, there was 3 different endings. I got the one ending, and I looked up the other few. And the game, I you know, if you were to say, hey, should I get Hellmart? I don't know if I would get it in its current state that it's in, because it's kind of pricey, I think, for what you get. Because the game, you know, we got it at the early access discount, and I think it's also bundled with some other games too. So if you have others, I think you can get a little bit cheaper as well. But it is fairly short. Especially if you just get one ending and then are fine. And I would say this is another kind of one of those games where I didn't really feel compelled to want to go and try to get the other endings again. The game,
I did.
Yeah, you did, and maybe you know, other things, but I think it just follows the exact same people, right? Like the same people come in, same stuff.
Basically, that's one of my gripes.
Yeah, that's too tedious, I feel like, for this, and we'll get to the story stuff again at the end to go more into it. But the game is too easy, I think. First off, you have a quota you have to make. You're like never in jeopardy of not making that quota, as long as you just stock the shelves with the items. You're gonna make the quota. So it's just like trying to seem like a pointless quota. Like why is that there? Now, if you don't make it because you just don't give a shit, like that leads to part of a different ending. But I don't see people like doing that on their own. Like if you just stock the shelves up with stuff, you're gonna make the quota.
Yeah. And the game gives you more people if you're short. They just keep bringing people in, even if it gets, close to dark. So there's always like people coming in. You're never in danger of not making quota unless you intentionally do it. All 3 of my playthroughs, never once did I get close to not making quota. And there are certain choices you can make when you're talking with the customers that will raise the quota. And even with doing that, it wasn't difficult at all.
Yeah, and I didn't know that they kept giving you customers if you weren't in danger of making it.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about the negatives here first because there's a lot of positives to this game. It's just, if somebody were to come to me, which sometimes we get games for free, sometimes we don't. You know, I think you paid for Quarantine Zone. I was able to get a key for the game. And so I try to
Yeah.
keep things in mind, like what I recommend. And now we both paid for Hellmart. I did not get a key to that game.
Hmm.
So it was, and even if I had to pay for Quarantine Zone, I would have been happy to pay for it with the price because I enjoy that type of game. But that's why I would
Yeah.
say, if a game has a demo, just play a demo. But if you're looking for, different things, or maybe you didn't hear about it, and you're like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. Maybe I should play it. But I feel like a lot of people play that game, so people probably have heard of it. But that was
Yeah.
our thoughts on that one. But with Hellmart, I mean, I won't say I felt like I didn't get my money's worth out of it because there were some really good things out of it, and it's still getting updated.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's like hard for me to recommend at the price point that it was, and it was kind of like that way with when we talked about Backrooms Cleanup Crew, like when
Yeah.
we got that game when it came out, and we had a lot of fun with it, but it was like, which, to be fair, they said this is how many levels are out right now, and it just felt like there wasn't enough to justify the price point. I think now the price point is fine for Backrooms Cleanup Crew. And it was like, hey, I think
Right.
the game can end up being worth it as long as they keep updating it. I definitely recommend people check it out. Just know that, like, if you had it like right when it came out, like, yeah, it wasn't all there, but they were fully transparent of what was out there, and they've kept updating it, and it's still a fun game to then get there. So I feel
Yeah.
like, they're still planning on updating Hellmart, which I guess we can talk about it too, but I don't know how you update this game. Like, I don't think there's a lot of room for updating because it's a story-based game in the end.
Right.
Now maybe
Well,
because
I think they would need to add another mode because 7 days isn't enough. And not just that, but they have systems in place that feel empty, like the security cameras. You will never ever need that. And when you first unlock them, you get one event, and it's the same event every single time. It's easy to miss because I watched P play it and he missed it. And there's really no need for it other than it's just there. But I absolutely loved this game despite it having multiple flaws like this. And I really hope that they add more to where you can use those systems. I feel like there's a lot that they could add to this game, and I don't think they can do it within the 7 day time frame. So I think adding another mode where you can choose to stay for a month, maybe even just 2 weeks would be helpful. But it needs more variety because like I said, I played through 3 whole times to get all 3 endings. And there's so much that they could do with this. I see a lot of potential for this game, and they nailed the spooky vibe. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
yeah, and I think the biggest negatives, like we said, with the game was probably too short. Stuff not fully like ironed out. It wasn't like overly crazy difficult. I feel like there were some story flaws in there, which we'll talk more about later. But yeah, the good parts of it though is the base idea and some of the things is great with this game, and it had some like pretty awesome scares, and just
Yeah.
the whole environment of like you're near this town that has like nothing, and you're like, who are these people? And then like some weird things start happening. and it nailed some things really, really well when it came to that whole environment and whatnot. And that's why I'm like, I enjoyed like playing the game overall. Like I think it had
Yeah,
fun stuff with
me
it.
too.
It was
I
creepy,
really loved it.
and it had some like really weird characters too. Uh,
Yeah,
and some of the stuff there was really, really good. And it's why like I'm like wouldn't say no, avoid this game at all costs. Like I think it's a little bit pricey for what it was. Like if the game was like less than $10 or something, like yeah, you probably I don't see an issue with it.
right,
The good parts of the game was yeah, I had fun playing it. Like I didn't hate playing it at all.
right. It
It
was fun.
felt like it just kind of ended, and then you're like, okay,
I wish there was more. That's how fun it was.
yeah.
I really do wish there were more, and I really hope they do add a lot more to it.
I just didn't feel the need to want to go through the campaign again.
Yeah.
Which maybe which the developer did put out a poll, uh, which I thought was kind of interesting, and I don't know what the idea was for it. So all it said was he was looking for an opinion of what you would like to see in the future: more content for the main game or a new mode. And I don't know if that means like longer days or how many days you're there, like more people, longer like survival stuff. I don't know what that would mean. And then a new mode, like maybe you just do an endless mode where you just basically are a simulator there and just keep trying to survive the whole time. I don't know. With that poll, like I don't even know how to answer it, because I feel like what would you add more to the main game, because then it might mess up the story, you know? Like
Right. Well, I think easily add more anomalous events, like when you first unlock the cams. Um,
yes.
More weird situations, like the crying woman that comes in. Add more of those. Weird things that interrupt your day that make trying to get quota a little more difficult. Um, yeah, there's so many possibilities with this game. It is a really well thought out concept. They just need to keep working on it. It'll be a really good game when they do that.
Yeah. And like I think with itself, like 7 days is not like bad in and of itself. You could make the individual days longer, or you could just have to where you have to play different times for different things to happen. Um,
Yeah,
which I'm not a big fan of multiple endings or doing trying to replay things just to for one or two things, but it's at least would make more sense if different things would happen. Uh,
yeah,
if it's the same story, but which basically is, you either play it perfect or not or whatever, and that's like your only choices, but everything else is the same, and it's like I don't really know if I want to go through that again. But
right.
if you did have different people each time, or there were different events that could happen and whatnot, I think that would at least lend it better. And when looking at this, there's hasn't been too many games that I've really ever wanted to replay to get a different ending. And I'd say the things that the one game that I kind of point to that sort of had different endings was Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is absolutely nothing to do with indie horror, but that was like the first Fire Emblem game that I really played, and I loved the stories because there was an issue where the first 9 chapters you were playing was exactly the same no matter which house you picked. Then I think maybe it was 9. I don't remember. It's been years, but we'll just say 9. But then the second half was completely different. It was completely different. And so, but the tedious part was replaying the same stuff in the first 9 chapters. But the second half, awesome, because it was a different story. And like that to me is more well done when it comes to that versus well, okay, talk to this one person a different way, and then that gives you a different ending. Like like that. Just I don't see, like, that feels like a waste of my time to do that.
Yeah.
And
Well, with the Hellmart, I felt it. I really loved the ambiance of this game so much that I really did say, okay, let me go get all three endings. It's so much fun to play. And I did them all on stream, so it was never boring. It was repetitive, but the environment is so nice and scary. It's very scary that it did compel me to play more to get the other endings. So I can't say enough good things about it. I really do recommend getting this game. There is a demo to try it out first to see if you do like it. I thought it was better than the Shift at Midnight, honestly, and I loved Shift at Midnight.
yeah, this one, I think the graphics are obviously better. It had some of the like the doppelganger, you're trying to figure out, which is more so at night, like should you let the person in or not. Um,
Right,
I'd say, see, though, a lot of that stuff, like, which I think is kind of what you hit on, like, it wasn't difficult.
right.
Like the anomalies, they basically told you, go to the flashing light, there's an anomaly there. Like,
Yeah,
when a person comes to the door, just look on the camera. If the camera is blinking, they're no good. Like, it
right.
it was so easy to know what you were supposed to do that I feel like, and that was like the issue with Shift at Midnight, when from the first demo that was released, the game basically told you for a lot of the stuff if you were good or not. And then
Right.
they kind of got, more difficult there by the end of it. And then when they released a second demo, like, it was more like you have to put your mind to it, which is good because you don't want to be told right away like what it is. Like, it would be nice if the game would just been like, oh, there's an anomaly present. Like, okay, well, let me go find it, instead of, oh, it's just go where the flashing light is and look, and the fucking piece of meat's changed dark. Like, that's, or there's a fucking phantom there. Like,
Yeah.
so obvious that it just felt like you were more going through the motions versus actually difficult. But it was still
Yeah.
creepy to have that, and then you'd have like the freaking thing trying to come in, and there was a lot of really good ideas and really good stuff with the game that I definitely think can iron out. If they want to
It's a
add,
great structure. It needs more in it. It felt empty.
yeah, which if they want to add more content to the main story, great. I don't know like what a different game mode would be unless you wanted like sort of an endless run your thing, whatever, and weird things will keep happening. But I feel like that'll get a little bit boring uh,
Yeah.
after a while. So, and then I don't know what a whole different mode would be, honestly. But yeah, I think this game, like I said, also has a demo, so definitely check out the demo, see if that's something you would enjoy. I think it had really good parts to it. Would I recommend at the price point, which is like almost $15 US? I don't think there's enough content in there to justify that price. Personally, I think it could get
Yeah.
there. I had fun with the
Yeah.
game, and it depends on what you're looking like. You can spend $15 on a movie ticket, and you basically would take you as long to watch the movies to beat this game. So did you value your time doing it? And that's just it's just kind of weird. Like, you have that like mental aspect where, essentially like that's what a movie ticket is. But I'm more willing to like go spend that on a movie ticket than a game. And I don't know why. I guess just in my head, like I feel like I should get more money's worth out of the game than a movie,
Huh.
but I don't know. It's just like a me thing, I guess. Like, I have a harder time justifying like buying a game and then it being done in like 2 hours, and I'm like, the fuck, that's not a lot
Yeah.
versus going to like spend it on a movie. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just like always been my thing. Maybe because like growing up or whatever, I always played long games. Like I said, I love JRPGs, which can
Yeah.
last 100
It could
hours.
take forever.
Uh,
And I'm the kind of person that wants to explore and find everything. So those would always take me a long time. But I always enjoyed that too.
yeah. So it's kind of been like a little bit different like lately with getting some of like the cheaper games. But you know, look at a game like Repo that's $9.99 and putting hundreds of hours into it, or
Yeah.
Schedule One, you know, and it's like, yeah, you got that stuff that you're going to spend a lot of time on versus something different. So I guess it's like more so, what did you enjoy out of it? And I don't know, like I think Hellmart is good. I think if you get the game, you would enjoy it. It just seems kind of steep for the price, because I feel like there's other horror games that are better but cheaper.
Huh.
Like I think they have a great idea. They had some great scares, but I don't know, that's just like the thing that just kind of turns it away from it, I guess. But that's my opinion.
With as long as it is, I would think like $5 as it is right now, and then if you're going to add more to it, then maybe it'll eventually get to that price. And I think the environment is worth it, which is probably one of the most important things for sucking you in and making you want to be there and spend your time there. That aspect, spot on. I loved it. I loved playing in that game. Loved the spooky environment. And as I said, the structures are solid. The systems that they have there, like using the computer, everything ran smoothly.
Yeah.
It just needs more. It just needs to be filled.
Yep. But I think it just sucks too, because I wanted the game to be great, because there is a lot of good stuff with it.
Okay, well, the first game I actually want to talk about is Toilet 8, which was not
Messing up the itinerary, Zot. That's not in the order of the
Itchio.
topics on the screen.
Itchio. Well,
just do your own thing,
it's the
Zot.
order of.
Just do
I'm
your
doing
own.
it. I'm trying. It's keep interrupting me.
Messing up my itinerary.
It wasn't free, but it's super cheap. It's only $2.99. And it was hilarious. Toilet 8 is like a play on Exit 8, and it pretty much plays exactly the same way. There were some good anomalies, some funny ones, some terrifying ones, and some very difficult to find ones, which it actually gave me a challenge on top of being campy and goofy. Absolutely love this game. I played it on stream. I do recommend. It is super cheap, and you get a lot of gameplay out of it. There's like 46 anomalies, I believe, to find, and it's not super easy. So it's definitely worth. I think it's worth more than that. But if you want to check that out, I recommend it. Highly recommend it. Especially if you like the anomaly games. As far as the Itchio games, there were I played 5 of them, but I couldn't even remember which one of them. It was so forgettable. I'm only going to talk about 4. The first one was called Devil in White, and that was by Vinyl. And I don't know if you remember, but I've played some Vinyl games before. There was Trox and another one about a cult. Well, I think they're both about cults. But very good, dark, low poly scenarios. And this one is about being a doctor. But you're trying to, take advantage of people in the town. And essentially, you're not being a very good doctor, I'll say that much. I do recommend this one on Itchio. A lot of fun, very dark. You don't really know what's going on until the end, and the end is like a gut punch of, like, oh my gosh, this is evil. This person is evil AF. Really well made for such a short horror game. And they say they only made it in 48 hours. So I'm just, the more they put out, the more impressed I am with Vinyl. Then I played Detective by Vuk Dobrik, which I've covered Vuk Dobrik tons of times. His games are super short. This one's about 15 minutes. It's a decent story. It gives like True Detective vibes, if anybody is familiar with that TV show. Real spooky, and I say that because of the way the body is found. If you know, you know. But this game just felt kind of like a demo for trying out cinematic shots. It was like 60 to 70% cinematic shots, which they were good, but it was just a bit much. But I do recommend checking it out. It's probably the least glitchy game that he's put out so far. I think he's really improving in his skills. And someday he's going to put out a full game and it's going to be epic, I think. He's a really good dev. Then I played one called Capybara. And how do I describe this? It was hilarious. There's some good scares. My biggest problem with this game is that there is a extremely loud jump scare in it, and it is so unnecessary. But I think this was another Game Jam game, and was made very quickly. But it's definitely worth checking out. And this was by Bad Cat Games. I almost forgot to mention that part. There's 2 endings, and it will not go anywhere near where you think it should go. It is off the wall, ridiculous, and super creepy. So check that one out. And then finally, I played one called Bottle of Sickness. And this was by Hanoi Analog, a dev out of Vietnam. And you play as like a hermit person, but you work on robots for some shady character. And you go through the motions of working on your stuff, and there's some story where you have a girlfriend and something happened to her, but it's not really clear until the very end what's going on, and the twist is phenomenal. For a short horror game, this was very well made. It keeps you guessing all the way until the end, which I love about stories. Very good ending to it. And it's about 20 minutes long. The environment is nice and creepy. And yeah, I do recommend that one. And that was Hanoi Analog.
So now we are going to talk about the Hellmart story. So there are going to be obviously spoilers to the story of Hellmart. So if you do not want spoilers, if you're listening to this on the VOD, you can just end it. We won't be talking about anything else when it comes to the podcast. But otherwise, feel free to listen on. So I felt like, you know, we don't talk about a lot of stories in games because we try to be as spoiler-free as possible. So we're going to try to go with this and see how it goes, see if you all enjoy it and want more of us breaking down our thoughts on the story overall rather than giving vague stuff. Because I feel like where the story was trying to take you when it comes to this, how it ended, the different endings, I just felt like it didn't really make a lot of sense in a way. And maybe I could end up putting 2 and 2 together by the end of it. So we'll take first thing that if you get the good ending of Hellmart, you basically get, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because again, you played it, I didn't. I just more read about what the different endings were. If you get the good ending, which it seems kind of hard in a way, because you got to like let certain people in at night, right?
Yeah, you don't have to get everything right. But yeah, like we talked about earlier, it is super easy to see who's going to be a bad person and who's not.
Yeah.
You just look on the camera, and if it's glitchy, then they're a problem. Or if they talk funny, it's a problem.
Yeah.
They'll have like, you know, misspelled words a lot, or, you know, just out of order words. So it's super easy to spot, and so it made getting the first ending or the good ending easier. And I don't know,
The
the one you got was the first ending I got too,
which
which
is
is
probably
like
the
somewhere in
ending most
between.
people will get first.
Right, because you don't get everything good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be rude to the customers,
Yeah.
and that matters too. And what you say to the guy standing outside is a big factor in which ending you get.
Yeah. Which so the
You agree to help him, but you don't.
yeah, and I think I think I might have let's see, are we still online? I know a stupid thing. I
You
think
came
this
back
was
on.
okay.
It was paused for a minute.
Yeah, I was like I think it was messing up for a second. But so the the good ending you basically get teleported to an actual supermarket there and you go work in basically an actual supermarket. Everything's normal. No weird things, no bad things, nothing like that. Uh, that's pretty much the gist of it. Now you can do the one where you, which I got the you kind of in the middle because I mean who doesn't like or like who wants to be nice to that Karen person, right?
Right.
I mean she was a bitch, and
She was
in a
awful.
person, basically you were like, oh yeah, I had to deal with that bitch yesterday. Like how dare you? She's a nice lady. She just misunderstood. You know,
That was quite shocking.
yeah, which is kind of funny that that happened. I thought he would have hated her too, but he was like, nope. Like, damn. Okay, well, have to talk nice to them. But that's when you get the one where you basically go back to the thing and start over.
Endless loop, they call
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And there's one where you go with the guy with the demon or whatever that's trying to get in. You basically just let him in each night, hide, be mean to everybody, don't stock the shelves, don't do whatever.
Well,
Don't
it's not even that difficult to get that.
really.
You just act rude to the customers and
Yeah.
you got it. Yeah.
So that one doesn't seem like and then you get like basically transferred to hell basically in a way.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it said like after you're basically stuck in the inland like in hell basically and can't go anywhere, right? And you're
Right.
basically end
It
up
feels like a purgatory. Like you were already dead before you got this job. Like
yeah.
this is some kind of uh, purgatory that you have to go to. Basically, yeah, like a supermarket in hell.
A
Exactly.
Hellmart, if
Uh,
you will.
all right. Right. But if you get the good ending, it changes the name.
Yeah, to just Supermart or something.
It says Hello Mart.
Oh, okay. Okay. I can't remember what it said. But I feel like and this is none of those endings are like super crazy satisfying in a way, I would say.
Right.
And it really felt like it maybe it's just the way that the game was designed. But and this is just like the biggest flaw that I have. It seemed like it wanted you to go against the rules. And it felt like that was more important. Like kind of like twisting you, which, you know, maybe you could say, okay, that was the monster trying to fuck with you because it wanted to send you to purgatory or whatever. But
Right.
then what about the phone call of the dude who basically calls from purgatory and is like, don't follow the rules, don't do all that. Like,
Right.
that's just where it seems like that phone call just seemed like more like, why wouldn't he just say, just somebody's going to try to tell you to break the rules, don't break the rules. I feel like that would be better because you're feeding this whole
Right.
time with this person saying, what are these rules? How do you know that they actually want to do it? And it was like, okay, so you can get the phone call, and the person who's like stuck in purgatory, seemingly, uh, is it? Why couldn't he be like, don't listen to the person trying to do this, don't make the same mistake I did, or something? You know, like,
Right. But it felt like a deception from the evil one, which didn't really make a lot of sense. Um, Most of the story didn't make sense, to be
no,
honest.
and then so look, so the whole game is designed to get you to try to break the rules, so you get sent to purgatory. But then you have the drunk guy, right, who
Right,
is
right.
supposedly the former employee. But if he got drunk like that, wouldn't he be in purgatory then?
Right.
Because he would have
You
eventually
can't get
failed.
out of it.
Now, you could say, which is the argument that I'm thinking in my head, but I don't think it did a good job explaining it, was did he become an alcoholic because he kept on the endless loop and the endless cycle?
Right.
But you can't
Well, there's
just
something that
quit.
you didn't see. That's my problem. My biggest problem with this game is it is inconsistent. I played through it 3 times, and each time they left shit out. Like, there's a customer that comes in and tells you that there was a little boy that got sucked into a trapdoor inside the store, right? But they didn't even get to that part with you.
Say, I don't remember that.
Right. There's parts that aren't revealed in every playthrough like it should be. So there's pieces that are missing, and unless you like play through multiple times, you're not going to see that. Very annoying.
Yeah, and there was just a lot of holes in the story. And then I don't have an issue of the endless loop to go back. I just feel like the choices you make on that last day, probably like you could probably like do great the whole time and be like, yeah, I'm gonna side with this dude, and then end up in purgatory, right? You think? Just
Right.
based on
Right.
talking, which makes everything irrelevant that you've done before.
Right.
Because my whole thing was, I think the game, the one thing I think the game really should do a better job with, because it does great in the story, is get you to question why are you making these choices. And I think that is fantastic. I love that part of the story. I just felt like the payoff for that was not good enough.
Right.
Because I think like, because it makes you question yourself then. You're like, why are we doing this? Maybe there is more. And like one of the choices on the last
Right.
day is you don't flat out tell the person yes or no, but you're like, you've caused me to think like, why? But I don't think that
Right.
like that's hugely important or not. It's just kind of like you're there in the middle, and it doesn't make it important. Like I think
It's
you
pretty
should,
much guarantees the middle ending, in my
yeah.
opinion.
But it's like, what if that guy comes back at the end or at the end of the night, and it's like, do you agree? Like now, do you see you're doing all this for nothing? Let me in. Like just you make the choice to let him in at the end, and then he drags you into purgatory or whatever. Like I think that'd be cool.
Right.
Because then you made the
Yeah.
choice there. Like you thought about it, and you were like, yeah, this dude is right. But I think it didn't do, like, to me, it makes no sense why the guy in purgatory would call you and tell you don't follow the rules. I think
Right.
it would have been better if the guy in purgatory called and was like, do not listen to this and like it's breaking up.
Right. That doesn't make
That makes
sense at
way more
all.
sense than he's telling you,
Yeah.
listen to this person, and then or you know, or don't like break all the rules, but it breaks up. Like what? Why? Why would they do that? Like I think more fucking with the mind of like, wait, why are you doing this? Is it worth it or not? Like the game does a good job of that, but I think it could more so do better payoff with it. Like
Well, for sure.
that's
For
what I
sure.
wanted.
And one of the most annoying things is that if you do want to try for a different ending, you can't. You have to play through the whole thing again. So the final save point, and it's automatic, is right before you just leave on your last day. There's no more choices, no more jobs to do, no nothing. So if you start from your last save, it just takes you right back to where you're going out and getting the ending. You can't redo anything. So you have to play through the whole thing, and I think that is a massive flaw.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, and this because again, it just goes back to the tediousness of doing the same stuff again and again and again. And I don't see the point. It.
There's so many bugs.
Yeah, well, they fixed some there in that patch.
Yeah.
But see, I feel like if the game is going to be short like this, the story has to hit hard.
Yeah.
I tell you, the game I thought did this perfectly was Dollmare. I loved that ending in that game. I have not gone back and tried to get a different ending in that game. I want to,
Yeah.
but just prioritizing things. That game did a tremendous job of making me want to go back and replay it because I thought the
Yeah.
scares in that game were extremely well made. The part, at least I'm pretty sure I know the part where you have to make the decision. But the decision you made at the time made sense for the story, but it was
Right.
wrong. And you're like,
Right. Because
I
you don't
fucking
know what's
got
going to happen.
fooled. Yeah. It's by the end
Yeah.
of it. Like, you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Like, why did I do that? I should have just, like, to me, this game didn't, like, kind of, like, it seemed like it was trying to build up to that, but it didn't have as much of, like, an impact.
Right. Well, I think with Dahmer, what they do is they prey on your wanting to do the right thing. And that's how they get that twist at the end, because they know people are generally going to want to try and do the right thing. But in the case of this game, there really was no right thing. If you were going to be rude to a customer, they were an absolute bitch first. You really have no reason to be rude to any of the other customers because they don't really do anything. They'll tell you stories. They'll stop and talk about a character, like they talked about Tiny Bob or whatever, or they stop and tell you about the little boy in the hatch or whatever. They talk about how the alcoholic guy used to work here or whatever. But there's no like right or wrong. But with Dahmer, there was a specific line in the sand. You felt bad for this doll and you wanted to help him. So that's how they got you. But there's none of that in Hellmart. And that's very sad that it's missing that.
Yeah. Because I think it could have, because the game did a good job making you question the rules, but it wasn't enough to pull you one way or the other. And I think, but even like, in my mind, like, it basically was building up to say fuck the rules. But again, the phone call, I think if the phone call would have been more so follow the rules, don't make like just something like, don't make the same mistake I did, or try to put it like that, and then the call like abruptly ends. Be like, they're gonna try to tell you the rules don't matter, but like secretly like they do, because then like it breaks up or something. You're like, wait, okay. And then if they make reference to it or something, like it didn't make you sympathize like with the person to want to go against the rules. Like I think the idea was there, and it did a good job like overall thinking, maybe he has a point, but I feel like it should have plucked on that more, because the idea was there. And if you're going to do, like, for the game as short as it is, really should hit these points hard. And
that maybe fleshing out the villain a little more, giving him more of a story.
Yeah. And
would do that.
Other than, why are you following these rules, versus like, give him some backstory or something he's going to tell you to try to lie and deceive or something. And I don't know, like, same thing with Hellmart is the ideas are there, and I think it could be ironed out a bit more. But there's just so many holes, because then if the drunk dude left his job, like, you can't just leave, so wouldn't he be sent to purgatory? Like, it would make sense that the dude was just stuck in an endless loop, so he became an alcoholic. Make perfect sense.
Right.
But per the story, that shouldn't happen, because he would then fail his job and get sent to purgatory. Or whatever. That's just what we're gonna call it. It's easy to identify with. But
I think he left his post. That's probably another part of the story he didn't get access to for some reason.
But story-wise, he shouldn't be allowed to do that, or you would fuck it up.
Right.
Which I hate holes like that are so glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
Because the idea, well, the dude became an alcoholic because he was stuck in the endless loop. Like, makes sense, but where in the story can we justify that he's allowed to leave? Because he shouldn't be if he worked there. Because even in the story.
Well, that's another thing. Because towards the end, he said, I'm proud of you for not leaving even though you could. I'm like, when could I leave?
Yeah.
I could never leave. So why are you telling me that I stuck with it? Like, I really had no choice but to keep going.
Yeah. Like the The stuff is there, um, but it and again for the game to be as short as it is, and as expensive as it is, which still it's not crazy expensive wise in grand scheme of things with how much games cost these days, but for an indie horror
Yeah,
game, like it's pretty up there in price compared to a lot of things.
it
And
needs so much more.
yeah, it just didn't left me feeling satisfied at the end. Like I enjoyed the game, and I don't think I got like ripped off by the game or anything, but at the price point that they're asking, I would tell people wait for a sale. Don't buy it at full price. I don't think it's worth full price. Could it be? Yes, I think absolutely.
Yes,
But I think
for sure. I
at the
loved it.
point it's at, like I wasn't left with damn, that was a fucking great game. It was like, man, I liked it. I just wish there was more.
Yeah, I wish there was more too. I absolutely loved
And I I
the
don't
structure
I
and the
I
vibes.
don't think we're the only ones, because that's when he released the poll. He was like, well, people were saying they felt like a lack of content, which
Yeah,
so it's there, which the all-time reviews are mostly positive. Uh, and I think most of them will say the same thing. Like one person didn't recommend it because the game lacks depth, and
I see that.
yeah, the same thing for an indie horror game priced at $14.99. It should take longer than 4.3 hours to experience the majority of the game content, which that's
Yeah,
probably like replaying that for a few times, uh, which is it's just the thing. And it's a good game. It's a good idea. I think it was just the issue of the price point is just what like really takes it out of the game. But then the holes in the story, which it's like, well, could I write a better story? I don't know, but that's not. I'm not trying to. Like I said, I
yeah,
loved the story in Dollmare. I really really enjoyed Dollmare. I thought that was fantastic with just a lot of the
yeah.
stuff that was in that game. And to me, it tried to hit the same idea of pulling you different ways, but the ending in Dalmare that you got, like, even though it sucked, like, for the person wise, it was satisfying. It made
Hmm.
sense. Like,
Right,
even though you got a bad ending, it made sense. And I left the game thinking,
right.
damn, that's fucking crazy. But so be it, man. It all
Yeah,
makes sense. It all came back around. Like, that's what it should be. It shouldn't matter the ending that you got. Like, I don't know what the other ending is in Dalmare, but I was left satisfied with the one ending that I got. And
yeah.
with the ending of Hellmart, I wasn't like completely satisfied. And then looking back and thinking
Well,
like we get all these
yeah.
flaws in the story.
I wanted
And
so much more out of it. Like, for example, when you're shoveling the snow and you got that guy's head, right? There's only one
yeah.
of those. There's only one of the anomalies on the video cameras, and it's right when you get it, and it's the same one every time. I wanted more of those. It does give you the sense that you want more, which is good. They did that so well, but it's so empty, and it definitely needs more spooks, more scares, more anomalies, more weird shit that happens. There's, it's like a canvas with only one color on it.
Yeah.
It's a great game, though. I think it could be if he works on it. I hope he does.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it could be the issue of like you know, when it comes to early access games, you can say something's early access, but I think people aren't going to look at that early access and be nice to you about it. They're going to
Yeah,
be like, is this it? And it just doesn't feel like this game should be early access. Like this type of game should not be have released in early access, in my opinion. What the hell is there to add on to it? How are you releasing this incomplete? Like it's
right.
not an endless game, like look at Phasmo, for example. It's highly replayable. Each playthrough is different and they keep adding maps and ghosts and items and redid a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
So okay, that makes sense. They keep adding on to it, so it makes sense for early access. There's no story in Phasmo. There might be a little tiny bit of lore, but not much. Repo. They're
Right.
released. They're adding more lore. There's not like a story, but it's highly replayable. It's addicting. You play it again and again and again, and it's fun. And that's fine. They're releasing new items, new maps, new lore, new just a bunch of stuff. Makes sense. Early
Yeah.
access. I don't know why a story game needs to have early access. Like there is nothing like a
Right.
lot of the games in early access are completely replayable again and again and again because it's a different playthrough each time.
Right.
Why does Hellmart need to
Right.
be
Exactly.
early access?
They need different game modes. I don't know how else to do. Maybe different stories that give you more lore and
Which maybe
another
I like
playthrough.
maybe it's not early access. I don't know.
It tells you how to get there
I can
because you
never
don't know
tell
how
if it
you
is or
ended
if it
up going
isn't.
there in the first place.
Yeah, and that's what I'm just saying. It makes no sense why this game needs updates or anything. Like if you want, it should have had the full story fleshed out. If you wanted to add a game mode just because, like, great, cool. If you wanted to add an
Yep.
endless mode to it, cool. But it shouldn't have been like the main, like, oh well, we're gonna release a game here and we're just gonna add updates to it. Why? Like the game, it's a story. Build up
Right.
to the story. Which again, the game is fun and overall, I don't think it's worth the price point, but I think if you play it, you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's just want it
I agree.
to be more than what it is, and I don't know why it needed an update or stuff to work on. And I don't know, like I feel like it's one of those things I've done very rarely myself, and that's like asking people what they want to see and adding a poll. Like I feel like if you're the developer, you should know what your game needs. You shouldn't rely on a poll to say
Right.
what do people want. Like look at it and be like, okay, let's add this. Like I think the game needs this, let's add it. Versus what do people want?
Yeah.
Because you're only going to get the people who are super crazy hardcore into it or whatever that see it. But I think most people, they may not even check the Steam news or whatever. Like I can't tell you how many times a game will get an update, we'll play it, and somebody was like, "Yo, this game got an update." What? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not everybody like looks at the Steam news for the games that they have. So it's like just you should know what to add to it, and not have to sort of rely on people for it. But
Yeah. I agree. The story should have been done.
yeah, the story should be done. We shouldn't be going in and like adding stuff to the story campaign mode. Like if you wanted to add a different game mode, like that's fine. Makes sense. But
Yeah.
if the main basis of your game is the story, I feel like that should be done. But, again, the game itself was fun, had some good scares, had some creepiness to it. It just I don't want to have that many questions on a game based on a story.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think some good stuff can come out of this dev, to be honest. Once he, learns from this, maybe the next game he brings out will be phenomenal. I hope so. I hope he continues to work on it because he nailed the spooky environment and the monsters. Very creepy. Except the phantoms. They're just stupid, honestly, the phantoms. I would have loved to see them get more aggressive or
Yeah,
something.
they were creepy at first, but
Yeah. Once you know how to get rid of them, it's
yeah,
like
they really don't
it's
fucking
harder to mop up than it is to get rid of phantoms.
yeah. But yeah, anything else you have to say about the Hellmart in general?
Oh no, I think I pretty much said everything.
Yeah, the game was fun. I don't think it's quite worth the price that it is at currently. I'd wait for a sale to get it unless they really change things. But great idea they had with it. The story just kind of fell flat no matter what ending you got. I don't know. Like the Purgatory one, I guess, would make sense, but
Yeah.
I think it could have been.
But you never find out. You don't find out anything, really.
Yeah. So the last episode we talked about was our favorite games of 2025. So be sure to check that one out. And we'll see you all next time.